Right. Right. Good morning, everyone. There's been unexplainable technical problems over here with the speakers and with the microphone and with the video and with the computer and with the connection and with the recording, with the buttons, with the this, with the icons. Almost everything that could possibly go wrong with the computer is going wrong. But let us ignore all that, not get aggravated, and let's continue. Let's do what we can. So I don't really know if I'm recording now, but I hope we are. So let's, with the supposition that we are recording and that it's being recorded, and in any case, we have to try. So here we go. So what have we been talking about now? We've been talking about, and God willing, I'll do the other class later, the class in Torah Or. Okay. So what's the Rebbe talking about? This is a speech that Lubavitcher Rebbe gave in 1991, the end of 1991. And he's talking about something that's very deep, very amazing. And that is the moon. And how the Jewish people are compared to the moon. And how far exactly can this metaphor go? So the Rebbe says that the moon gets bigger and it gets smaller. There's more light and there's less light. The Rebbe says, but we see that the Jewish people count according to the moon, but when after the middle of the month, when the moon is full, so the moon, the light gets less and less, but the numbers of the days, as the date gets bigger and bigger. So if so, we see that we don't really count according to the moon. We count according to the moon only the first half of the month, but the second half of the month, it's not exactly according to the moon because the moon is getting smaller and the numbers are getting bigger. The dates are getting larger. So the Rebbe said, no. The fact of the matter is that the end of the month, that's more revelation of the essence of Judaism, of what Judaism is really for, than the beginning days of the month. Because in the beginning days of the month, there's more light of the moon, which means the moon is reflecting the sun. But the end of the month is not the reflection of the sun, but so to speak, the moon itself. Now, the moon itself, as it is now, it has to receive from the sun. And when it doesn't receive, so it doesn't shine. But ideally, it's not supposed to be that way. We say like the moon is compared to the Jewish people. Ideally, it's supposed to be that the moon itself shines. That's the way it was when God created the world. That the moon itself shined, and for whatever reason it says that the moon complained, the moon did a sin, whatever. In any case, God made the light of the moon less, says the Rebbe. But really the fact is that why is the moon darker in the second half of the month? Because the moon comes closer to the sun. As the face of the moon is facing the sun, and the other side of the moon is facing us. So that's what we see in the second half of the month. That's really the essence of the moon itself. And ideally, it's supposed to be that the essence of the moon should shine like the sun. So, okay, we're not seeing that hidden part of the moon, that the moon, the essence of the moon that's really supposed to shine, we're seeing because we're in exile. But we are seeing the essence of the moon. We're seeing the dark side of the moon. That's really the essence of the moon itself, not what the sun gives it, so it shines to us, but what it gives. And right now, what it gives is too high for us to perceive. That's like the source of light from which both it and the sun receive. So therefore, we can't see the light of it, but we do see the darkness of it. Darkness is even higher than light. Like, for instance, high mathematics. You go into a class, you don't understand what's going on. It's all dark to you because it's so high. So that's really what's going on. And that's the reason why Yud Tet Kislev, the 19th day of Kislev, and also Hanukkah come at the end of the month because they're partaking of this essence of the month, not just the light of God, but God, so to speak, himself. And this is symbolized by the Jewish people, that in the end, the Jewish people, they will be God. As it is right now, they are God. They're the sons of God, every Jew. But we don't feel this. That's why it says in the future, there'll be the raising of the dead. The bodies will draw the souls into them. The bodies will be higher than the souls. Now the bodies are just dark, like the dark side of the moon. When the soul is in it, it shines like when the moon is shining. But in the future, it's going to be that the dead bodies will be so high and holy, God will enliven them, that it'll draw the soul back into the body. That's the idea of the raising of the dead. The death itself will raise up. Okay, what does that mean to us now? All of this is especially in our generation. I hope this is being recorded. Let's go. Paul, shalom. As I started this class off, I had big technical problems up to now. So I hope you can hear me. Just maybe send me a message and tell me, 1 second. Are you hearing me or not? 1 second. Are you hearing? Can you hear me? Yes? Because I don't know. I don't hear myself. You understand? All right. Yes, hear me? Can you hear me? All right, here we go. This is all stressed, especially in our generation. Let me send him a message over here. Let me send him. Excuse me, one please. Everyone, please message. Here we go. Message remote control participants. Chat. 1 second. Here we go. Ready? Here we go. Let's see. Just give me a second here. He gives back. No? Yes? Who knows? All right. So all of this is stressed, especially in our generation. What's in our generation? The special thing about our generation. Even though the Yaakov, it says that he finished all that he had to do, and everything just depends on the actual redemption, unifying with Esav and inspiring Esav. Therefore, Yaakov sent messengers to Esav to let him know that the redemption is here. It says that the saved ones will go to Mount Zion to judge the Mount of Esav. And Yaakov wanted to sit in peace. In other words, the time of Mashiach has arrived. That's what Yaakov's message was. Nevertheless, it didn't actually happen in the world. But after we've finished, now we're talking about 3,800 years, something, after the meeting between Yaakov and Esav. Now, in this time, all the Jewish people in the course of all the generations have worked, served Hashem, suffered for Hashem, prayed for the Mashiach, etc. Especially the revelation of Torah Chasidut in Yud Tet Kislev, that then they began the main thing of spreading Judaism outward. It continues more and more until the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, and by means of him, the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak, is the ideas of Chasidut have spread out to all of the ends of the earth. So therefore, says the Rebbe, everything has been finished. The world is completed. The world work of Yaakov and Esav has been completed. We've done everything, including even shining up the buttons for the big parade of Mashiach to come. Everything is ready for Mashiach to come. If so, it's understood. So in the course of all the generations after this, all the time that the Mashiach delays for some reason that the Rebbe cannot understand, bilti yadua, reason which is not understood, known or understood at all, is eno avodas a birurim. Therefore, what we're doing now is not refining, separating the bad from the good. It's already been separated. Shari kavar nistaimo. We've already finished that. El avodim yucheres. What do we have now? Our services to bring the Mashiach actually. Bring the Mashiach. That should be our concern. Yesh lomar, we can say that this is especially hinted at in the Haftorah of this week's Torah portion, where it says V'haya, and it will be, here's 90s, and Ovadia, the prophets of Ovadia. Ovadia, it says, and the house of Yaakov will be like fire, and the house of Yosef, Yaakov's favorite son, will be a flame. Ubeit Esav, and the whole house of Esav will be like straw. The Yorash Negev et Har Sion, and therefore we will Har Esav, we will conquer the mountain of Esav, and it will be they will end the exile until Sarfat. Now, what is Sarfat? Nowadays, Sarfat is France. Yirshu Area Negev. We will conquer all, we will occupy all the lands of the south. And then it says the saved ones, the Jewish people, will go into the Mount of Zion and they will judge the mountain of Esav. Okay, what does this mean? It means the Jewish people somehow or other are going to be dominant, and all of the forces which oppose Judaism. Right today, there's three main forces which oppose Judaism, which is, super secularism, the woke movement, whatever you want to call it, and Islam and Christianity. Those three things will somehow or other be subdued. And this is also hinted at with Sarfat. Sarfat is France. The main thing of France really was it is a licentiousness, no limits, secularism, you want to call it, atheism, secularism, liberty, fraternity, no morals, no conscience. That's what France is. So that it says, therefore, Miachirushim, one of the novelties, it says that Yosef, that's going to be next week, we'll learn about Yosef, and the house of Yosef. Who is the house of Yosef? The previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. His name was Yosef. His first name was Yosef. That's the house of Yosef. Regarding all the generations which would be before that, until even the generation of the first Rebbe of Chabad, that by means of him, the spreading out of Judaism was to all the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. That he spread out Judaism and Hasidut especially to the ends of the earth. Now, Chabad was contained in Russia. And from the first Rebbe of Chabad, even from the time of the Baal Shem Tov, it was contained in Russia and Ukraine. And psychologically, religiously, they ruled over the whole world. I mean, the Russian Orthodox, it ruled over Russia. Everyone was Orthodox. Everyone was religious over there. Everyone was Russian Orthodox. And so they ruled over the church in general, was tremendously powerful. So the point I'm making is that Chabad was contained inside of Russia. They couldn't get out, especially in the time of the communists. When the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, he got out, especially when he got out to America, as then for the first time, the ideas of Hasidut could be translated into all the languages where where there was, I guess, civilized people, whatever, that could be translated into every language. And also it could be spread out. There could be teachers that were, the Rebbe sent emissaries to the whole world. Says that's what it means, that the whole ends of the world until the furthest away place, which is Sarfat, which is France. Okay, what's so bad about France? In the time of the first Rebbe of Chabad, that's when Napoleon was ruling over there. It's pretty hard to believe that it was that way. And because France is a pretty big loser. I mean, they lost World War I, lost World War II, losing everything. But at the time of Napoleon, France was like ruling almost the whole world. In France, they conquered everything, France. And also in the time of all the Rebbes, there was no spreading out of Judaism in temporarily there were in different places, but there was, especially France, it didn't reach at all. France was like the big enemy of God, because France was the lowest place of the lows, to the degree that the first Rebbe of Chabad, he actually worried that Napoleon would win. He was afraid of Napoleon. You know the story when Napoleon attacked, when he conquered Russia, so he came into the town of the first Rebbe of Chabad, Liazne, And the Rebbe ordered that his house should be burned down. His own house should be burned down because Napoleon was a big sorcerer. He didn't want the Napoleon to have anything that he had ever owned. What is it called? What is it called? Sympathetic magic or something like that. That you hold something that a person owns, you can make a curse on him. The Alter Rebbe was so afraid of Napoleon because Napoleon had incredible success in the beginning of the war, incredible success. He won these amazing victories. And the Rebbe was afraid of him. Alter was afraid, the whole world was afraid of him. So therefore, it was impossible to spread out the teachings of Hasidut in France, because it was the lowest of the low, to the degree that specifically our generation, by means of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, there's revealed godliness even in France. I remember when the Rebbe said this. Actually, the Rebbe actually did it earlier than that. It was a bit earlier than this. The Rebbe was already talking about France. And he said that now we see, and they took the French national anthem, and the Rebbe put it to one of the prayers that we make. And the next year, all of a sudden, French Bali Chuvas came. French Jews that had been totally not religious, suddenly they started pouring into 770. They became religious, the men and the women. And even there's a Tomchei Tamimim in France. And even just like it was in Lubavitch. Therefore, now it's the time to Yorshi Arya, it's a Negev. We can conquer all the lands of the south. Like it says, the saved ones, the Jewish people. Now we can judge the mountain of Esav. Now, the Rebbe said this 30 years ago. And we can also add on and say by means of a hint, Sarfat is the numerical value of Sarfat, France. If you add them up together, this is the numerical value of 770. The Shlemus Mispar 7, in other words, 7, 70, I think this is okay. All right. I hope it's all right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's all right. So 7, 7, 0. So we have 7, the number 7, and then we have 70, and here we have 700. So this is the completion of the number of 7, as that each one is multiplied by 10, because 10 is a complete number. Judaism, the 10 Sfirot of God, etc. Because like each one is also included in 100. And both of them together, 770, we can say that this is hinted at that the purification of this world, Sarfat, which is the lowest place in the world, already finished. The world has already been finished. The purification of the world, and the world is number 7. The world was created in 7 days. And all the details, said the Rebbe. So the world has already been refined. The only thing that's missing is our ability to receive this. The Moshiach. And also to add on that the refinement of Tzarfat, of France, which is 770, for those of you that don't know, 1 second over here. Okay. For those of you who don't know, the address of the Chabad headquarters in the world, where the Rebbe spoke and where he did all of his learning and teaching, this is in 770 Eastern Parkway. That's the address. So the Rebbe says it's not accidental at 770, because 770 is the numerical value of France, Tzarfat. And it's also the completion of the number 7, which the world was created in 7 days. And who really began this was Beit Yosef. It says in art that Yosef will be like fire. He'll burn up all the bad in the world. How will it burn up? By the light of Hasidut, by education. About Yosef. It says, says the Rebbe, we're now sitting in the house where, okay, good. We're sitting in a place yes, until the house, this house where we're sitting, said the Rebbe, in 770, this was chosen by the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, in the 10 last years of his life 10 last years of the Rebbe's life, the previous Rebbe's life was in America, right? Was in America. And there he decided he was going to continue his service in spreading out Judaism in the world. That's the number 770. And even deeper, Tzarfat is the letters of Paratzta. Ufaratzta means to spread out. And this is hinted at the revelation of Hafatzat, spreading out and disseminating the teachings of Hasidut, specifically from Tzarfat, Pritzit Kol Gedarim. The low rak ba'ofen, not just a way that it breaks through all the limitations of the world with the well springs of Hasidut, that it comes into the lowest place of the lowest, but even more. She'inyan said this is mitzad tachton, that not just Hasidut is spread out into the world, because what is Hasidut? It's talking about the oneness of God and how everything is very precious to God, and God is creating everything for a purpose. So it's not that this will be taught into the world and it'll have an effect on France, Tzarfat, right? Liberalism and secularism and whatever. What do they call it? The meaningless life. There's this whole philosophy, even to the last generations, the big existentialist philosophers, which their crown achievement is there's no meaning in the world. There's no meaning. Sartre and Albert Camus and these people, there's no meaning whatsoever in the world. You just live, that's all there is. Everything is meaningful. Everything is meaningful. Everything is important. This is so, look at this. Just keeps cutting off and cutting in. Okay. It says even more that the world itself will start to advertise godliness. Like Tzarfat, because Tzarfat, the letters can be rearranged to Paratzta, spreading out. So specifically from this lowest place will become spread out Judaism to the whole world, right? That like Paratzta Alecha Peretz, like it says when the sons of Yehuda were born, as one of them was Peretz, and Peretz is the Moshiach. Like it says, Ola Peretz Lifneim. So Peretz means to spread out, and that hints at Mashiach, who will spread out Judaism into the whole world. And this, I think we've had a lot of troubles today. And this is, let's try one more. Ready? Let's go. Let's go. I'm sorry. It just keeps cutting out. I've had so many problems. Maybe I have to have a new computer, as far as I know, the computer works. Everything works. Okay, let's go. In our generation is especially that the moon is full. The month of Kislev in this year. Okay, we're going to have to stop here. I'm sorry. It's just too many interruptions. And God willing, we'll complete this tomorrow. We're lucky we got anything done at all. Okay, good. Have a good day with Moshiach. Now, God willing, later on, I'll say a story and we'll do the Dvar Malchut. Okay, good. Thank you for coming. 1 second. Did this? No. Okay, I don't know. Huh.